Parsha Noso Toshin Non-Alu. And we're learning in the base camp of Tzedek in Ira Kodesh, Ira Tika Tzvat. And this evening is Le Hay. Sivan Erev Chag Shavuos. Erev Dalet Sivan, Erev Shabbos, and not quite Erev Chag Shavuos, Shabbos. Toshin Ayin Tet. I just want to begin the Shiur with La'ir Shnei Inyonim, Shnei Dvarim. Habe Makoimes Be'olam Kelo Eretz Yisrael, Anshe Shlomeinu are united together on this Shabbos, what they call Shabbos Afters, or Shabbos, where all Anshe Shlomeinu and Bocharim, everybody come together and they spend Tefillas HaShabbos, and maybe certain Hisvadiyas, Shiurim and things of that nature, everybody together. And that's in light of what it's brought when we get to, Rashi brings it in reference to Rosh Chodesh, Sivan, the day that they came to Matan Torah, Almanas, to begin the Ahachonas to Matan Torah. And it's written that they camped Vayichen Israel, Meged HaHar. And Rashi brings over there that at that moment they were Kulam Ke'ish Echad, Believe Echad. That's what Rashi said. And that's based on a Sipri, Divrei Chazal, that there was absolute actors amongst the Jewish people, Berega Lifnei Matan Torah. And the implication is that that was a primary factor in making possible the whole Indian of Giloi Matan Torah and the Yeridas Hashem of Har Sinai with the Ganzer. Yeah, Arigas. It was totally bizarre that there was absolute actors amongst the Jewish people. And it's well known that there are different forms of actors, different forms of what we call in Siddur Hishkalalas, Hamadrigas, Zu Bazu. Over the highest form of Hishkalalas, and the actors between people is based on the fact that Kol Echad Israel feels not only that he has a kesher with the other person, or not only that the other person can influence him in a positive way in some oifanim, but he feels that he has no shleimus and he has no possibility of reaching his shleimus without the kesher and b'meila the hashpah that he will gain from the other person. And b'meila, each one of us feels that he's incomplete, absolutely, like somebody be missing a major part of his whole system or something without the other person. And that's the amitas in it, and that's what Rashi says over there in Parshas Yisrael. Rashi writes over there, Kulam Ke'ish Echad Believe Echad. And the Rebbe brings down in several places that the kof over there, Ke'ish Echad, is not just a comparing kof. Sometimes the kof is what's called a kof dimayon. It's a comparing kof. No, sometimes the kof can be used in a way that it makes the two things absolutely comparable, one to the other. They're not in meaning that they're like part, and they're mashlim one the other. They bring shleimus one to the other. And that's the whole idea of emes actors. Not just that I get on with the other guy, not just that I put up with him not just that I sort of, well, I've got to deal with him, so let's do it positively, etc. But he mamish feels how his whole personal shlemus is dependent in the other person. That's the, as it were, formula for this whole concept of Shabbos actors before Chag Matan Torah. That's the whole concept behind it, that there should be a union between people. And that's I just want to make that as a sort of introductory remark to the whole atmosphere that we're learning tonight. Hopefully Hashem will grant us that we also, through our learning tonight and our coming together, will also reach, or at least feel the necessity to be mishtadil, to do everything we can to reach that actor. And the second thing is that to our dear friend Pinchas Eliyahu, who went through an operation yesterday, as everybody probably is aware, in America. I had an email from him just a few hours before I came here. Just a few words that he wrote me after he came out of the, the anesthetic, after he came out of the coma. And it's amazing how these telephones, he must have had a telephone in his hand, and he must have typed this message, despite the fact that he was just out of the coma. So it just shows you the unbelievable mileage that there is in the technology. And I appeared on my email a few words from him. So Hashem Shalom, we hear Michael Choyel, we hear Refuah Shlema Gemora for him. And before that, the Medrash Tanchuma brings down that Yidden who came out of Mitzrayim had been slogged by the Mitzrayim, and they were falling over stones, and all the years that many of them were damaged, and they had bruised bodies, or they were missing fingers, or who knows what. It was brought down in the Medrash, and the Eivishter healed everybody, so that the actual minute of Matan Torah, everybody was betachlis shlemas. Everybody had some sort of a damage in his body, was completely healed. It's written in the Medrash Tanchuma, yeah. So that should be Makuyam Vishlemas in Pinchas Eliyahu. All right, so we're beginning tonight a very amazing Sikha from the Rebbe. And the Rebbe talks here in the Sikha about two concepts, which I just need to make them clear with a few words, and it'll help us sort out the way they present it here. And that is, there's two expressions in Lashon Kodesh when they get to the word chadash. One is what we call chidush, and one is hitchadshut. So chidush means something really new, which is revealed. Chidush is like an absolute noun from the word chadash, which is an adjective. So chidush is something genuinely new that hasn't been there before. When I say hitchadshut, I mean renewal. What renewal means that I'm bringing mechadash, something that's already been there before, or it's very likely that it's been there before, and I re-bring it. That's called hitchadshut. So we got then these two concepts, hitchadshut and chidush. Chazal omrim shebechol yom divrei Torah tzrichim liyosh b'nei ha'odom ka'chodoshim. Our sages tell us that, and it's brought down, Rashi brings that concept in several places in his Pirush ala Torah, and sometimes he writes it with a kof, ka'chodoshim. Sometimes he writes it without a kof, that they have to be chodoshim. Ki'ilu hayom nitno. And where do we get that from? There is written, Benegir, to what we just mentioned, the Atlas of Yidden is written by Yom Ha'u, Bo Midbar Sinai. On that particular day, they came to Midbar Sinai, and so the Gemara in Masechta Shabbos learns out that that's referring to Rosh Chodesh. And then Rashi says that the Indian of Chodesh is also based on the word Chadash. So Rashi says that comes to teach us, why didn't the Torah just say Rosh Chodesh? Why did it say B'yom Ha'u? Elamai, that comes to hint to us that you've got to do what happened by Yom Ha'u, the Indian of preparation. And Kabbalah Satira has to be new every day in your eyes. In other words, you've got to see every day that you're learning a new Torah. It's not the same Torah you learned yesterday. Yeah, since there's a big cloud that everything is, the Torah says is absolutely true. If we are commanding on a mensch, to be metyaches to his learning, that it's every day a new learning. But that's a sign that the emes of Matthias is really like that. When you learn, every day you're learning something new. We demand of you that you feel that, and you experience that, and you live with it. And that is indicated by the Nosa that we make every day when we bless the Eibishter for having given us the Torah. Baruch Atah Hashem noisein haTorah. Saying is Lashon Hoiver, how do you call it? Present tense, which means that he's giving it to us now. Well, that indicates that if he gave it to me now, what was yesterday? What he gave me yesterday was also the Torah, but it was not as new as what this aspect of the Torah that we're getting today. In other words, that in every day there is a itchachut in the Indian of Torah. It's not the same Torah that you had yesterday, but we're going to see that in that there's two levels as we go along. So he said, present tense. Just like Hashem, we're giving it today from the new. Yeah? It's a new piece of Torah altogether compared to what you learned yesterday. Lamaisa, nitain lechalek es ha'ishchad shazu la'av chalokim protium. So the Rabbi said the word ishchadshas, like we mentioned at the beginning, is a conceptual term, and that means in Pashtas it means renewal, like we said. So the Rabbi said that beneged to Torah and the effect that Torah has on the world and on the people who learn it, all together we can see four, as it were, aspects or four ways of applying this concept of renewal. So he said the first one is a b'ivin klali, generally speaking. And what does that mean? Ha'ishchadshas ha'pe'ula shel matan Torah nasis kol shona mechadash b'zman zeh chag matan Torah. So the Rebbe said that we could say that if we talk in a general way, then there's a ha'ishchadshas in the activity of giving Matan Torah, and that occurs once a year at the time of Matan Torah. And that is a, how do you call it, a tchadshut klalit. It's an absolutely new Torah, which is given for the whole year, which means that it must be in a very general state. And he said that is given at the time of Chag Matan Torah, a kol shona choizrim u'mesoirim. As the Arizal teaches, it's one on the famous klal from the Arizal, that every year choizrim u'mesoirim oisamayin yonim shiru v'yom zeh b'pam harishona. Every time you have a yontav, or when that yontav occurs this year, then everything that happened the first time by that yontav reoccurs on this day. And that's the whole idea of a yomim ha'ela nizkorim v'narsim. If they are remembered properly, then they are made again, meaning that everything that happened on that yontav reoccurs now. And that's what happens on Matan Torah. The whole Torah is given to us for a whole year, a general. That's how do you call it? A general chadshut, and that occurs at the moment of Chag Matan Torah. So he said that's one ishchadshus. The next one is a ishchadshus hanizkeres, or that ishchadshus we just mentioned. Anasis b'chol yoim v'yoim. He said that this whole idea of a ishchadshus, which occurs every day, not just once a year on Matan Torah, but it occurs every day. He said, "Ulamaisa ishchadshutzu bo mikocho shel ishchadshus haklolius ashnosius anasis b'Matan Torah." In other words, we said there's a ishchadshus klolius, which is made of Matan Torah, or that is a klal. And that gives rise to 365 or 368 pratim, and every day is a new prat, and each part of that itchadshut klalit that is on Matan Torah. So we've got a itchadshut klalit on Chag Matan Torah. Every day we draw a new itchadshut pratit from that itchadshut klalit. In other words, that every day is a new thing, but it got its core to be a new thing from the general new thing which occurred on Matan Torah. Just like we find in a similar matter, ishchadshus kiyum ha'olam b'chol yom. Yeah, just like we find that we say every day in davening, and it's one on the famous Torah from the Baal Shem Tov, that המחדש, כמו שנאמר, המחדש בטובה בכל יום תומד מעשה בראשית. That every day, we as it were, we live a new world. We experience a completely new world, because every day the Eibishter is renewing the whole world. So he said that is, also got a klal and a prat. Just like Torah has a klal and a prat. In other words, that on Rosh Hashanah, Hashem gives us the whole creation, mi chadash, and every day he takes like a prat out of that klal on Rosh Hashanah, and that is the machadish, or the itchadshut of the whole creation every day. Avamela, he said that's the itchadshut, kiyum ha'elam b'chol yom, or that's the itchadshut of the whole kiyum of the elam every day. כמו שנאמר, המחדש בטובו בכל יום תמיד מעשה בראשית, שבאופן כללי, generally speaking, נעשה ishchadshut b'chol Rosh Hashanah. That occurs on Rosh Hashanah, and therefore it's well known that when we live Rosh Hashanah, we are living the renewal of the whole creation. This is well known. And it's brought down in Maimarei Chazal and Medrashim that the Eibishter goes back to a state where he's beyond creation of the world, and he gives us the whole creation mechadash. But the difference is that that's a general of the whole year. As the Alter Rebbe brings down in detail in Likutei Torah, and he teaches the whole thing, that the whole chiddush of the world on Rosh Hashanah is Beklal. And then every day there's a new chiddush which borrows or takes from that chiddush. If Amir Nasi Shishachas Bekol Rosh Hashanah, I'm sorry, Sheba even Klali Nasi Shishachas Bekol Rosh Hashanah. And then we take every day the detailed Shishachas from that cloud. Ella, he said, there's another important interrelationship here. Ella Shamikoira Shala Ishachas Klali Azu Nasi Shachachas Aprotias Bekol Yom. In other words, what is the unity between those two things? That if it hadn't been for these chatzos klolius on Rosh Hashanah, there wouldn't be the power in every day to draw out its own chatzos. Or it gains the koyah from that protistic chatzos from these chatzos klolius on Rosh Hashanah. And that's what is brought down in Tzilas in many places, that the way you live on Rosh Hashanah and the way you spend every moment on Rosh Hashanah is very, very important, because that's like a Yom Klali, which has got reference and effect all the protistic days the whole year round. Well, now it makes sense. Yeah. So it follows that we've got like two things now. We've got Torah. Torah is given to us by Claudius, and the Gemara says in Masechta Megillah that how to call it, Shavuos is also a Rosh Hashanah. Shavuos has the din of a Rosh Hashanah. So that makes good sense, because the Torah is given to us by from Kloli in a whole new way on Chag Matan Torah, which is Shavuot. And then every day we draw Mikoyah, we draw every day a new Torah, which we live the Ishchatzos of the Torah every day. So the same way with the whole Bria. On Rosh Hashanah, the Eberster makes a whole new Bria. Every day, Mikoyah, we live the newness of the whole creation. So he said that's two Ishchatzos. A third one is Ishchatzos Miyuchedes Noisefet, but Doima Lasuga Rushana Oma, which is like the general one. So he said, Huizu Hanasi B'Shabbos Shel Akrei Matan Torah Parshas. Now we're not going to be dealing tonight in our learning so much with this prat, because this is when the Rebbe said the Sika Parshas was a week after Matan Torah. It was the last day of the Tashlumin. But with us, we're the other way around. It's the Shabbos before Matan Torah. So the Rebbe found in Parshas an extra form of his chachas in Torah, but we're not going to be dealing with that this evening. God willing, at future occasions we'll do. So he said there's another form of his chachas. He said, "V'shleisha sugei his chachas hakoidmim ad goshi al his chachas shel kayam." So the Rebbe said the three chachas, and that's what I said. The word chachut, the cloud, implies a newness in something which is already there, a renewal. That's the whole idea of a chachut. Kalima, that means to say, Oisa Torah shenitna kvar b'matan Torah, nitna shuv b'chol yom u'b'chol shana. Yeah, it's just that it's got a newness about it, but it's basically the same Torah. It's that it comes with a new chayas, with a new emphasis and a new power, but it's basically the same Torah. Ela shemuvad zois yesh inyan noisa. So the Rebbe said we have to say that there's something extra, more than just hitchachut. He said, "Yesh inyan noisa lo hitchachut ela chidur." Well, that's what I made the point at the beginning. Hitchachut is just renewal. Chidur is something new altogether. So the Rebbe said that would tend to imply that in Torah we also find dvarim which are called chidur, not just hitchachut, not just renewing with a new chayil. For example, what's the whole idea of renewal in the Torah every day? Let's take the way a person learns Torah every day. A person's supposed to learn Torah with tainug and with chayes, and it's supposed to be so lively, so chayes. That's the end of learning Torah. So every day you're supposed to feel a new time, and you're supposed to feel a new bread in learning Torah. There's a whole story. You don't know. I suppose you don't know how you're supposed to know. There's a whole story about the Mittler Rebbe. That once he was traveling in a coach with a driver. He had to go somewhere. He was coming back, and he kept saying to the driver, "You're driving too slow." So the driver said, "Yeah, he's pushing the horse as fast as he can, you know. He can't really get it any faster." The Mittler said, "He can't do any faster than that." And so the guy's beating the horses. And eventually, nothing happened. There's another famous story about Medley Bateska, and then something happened. There was a crash over here. There wasn't any crash, but the Mittler Rebbe kept sort of saying, you know, "What's the holdup?" You know, so the guys. So as soon as they got to the dwelling of the Mittler Rebbe, he threw some money to the guy, how much he owed him, and he ran out of the coach at high speed, and he ran into the house, and he ran up to the bookcase, and he almost broke the whole bookcase, and he tore out, you know, Sfarim, and he opened them, and he happened to open a Gemara, was the first thing he opened, and he started saying the Gemara in a loud voice, and with unbelievable fire, you know. Said, you know, the driver couldn't figure, you know, what's going on. So then he realized that whenever the Mittler Rebbe was kept away from learning, he couldn't take it. You know? He said, what are you dragging time for? We're going to give it. So that every time he learned with more fire and more bread than what he did the time before. And that's what it means, hitchachut. It's like every time a new bread of a new chayes. However, a chidush, and that's because that's the way the Eibishter gives it to us. He gives it in a way that it will affect us that way. Oh, but a chidush, that means a new thing altogether, something new, something that's not been there before. In Yonim Chadoshim, Amishchachim, betoira, new things, what they are mitchadesh, betoira. Shaloi nitno b'pam harishoina. They weren't given b'pam harishoina. Haloi heim oishim chidushei Torah amishchadshim b'meshech hadoiras kulam. Yeah, he said, we find that the Gemara brings down a lotion that kol mashet talmid vatik osid l'chadesh nitna b'moshe Sinai. So we see there's an infant l'chadesh, that a great Talmidim, a great Talmidim Chachomim are going to have the ability to bring new things that haven't been there before. We have a cloud that in Matan Torah, everything was given. The Alter Rebbe said there'll never be another Matan Torah. Everything was given. So what does it mean? He was a Machadesh, you know, the Talmud Chacham or the Talmud Vasik. The Indian is a Matan Torah, that was Behelim. It was albeit there, but it was like Behelim. And he brings it out, but like Gabi, the Lomdim and the Makablim, it's something new altogether. It's not just a Chachut, it's a Dvar Chadad. Of Amela, we're going to see now some, how do you call it, interrelations of these inyanim. So he says, Yodua, Kulam le'amita shel Torah, kamuvan, not just something which looks like a chiddush, but something which is an emes of chiddush, according to Torah. I don't want to tell another story. I see you guys are battling as it is, so I want to tell a famous story about the Rogatchover. You know, but somebody bought him some kiddushim that he'd written to show the Rogatchover and get his approval. Yeah. So he showed him the kiddushim, and the Rogatchover read a few lines, and he said, "That's emes of kiddushim." You know the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said, that's Amos Chidushim. So the guy at the beginning was very thrilled, you know. Amos Chidushim, you know. And then he sort of, the Rogachover sort of put it aside, rather, you know, not pleasedly put it aside, and he went ahead with his lunch. So the guy thought, that's very nice. So then he began to realize that what he meant by saying, Amos Chidushim, this is new things that have never been. I don't know, it's very hard to get jokes with you guys, you know. That's something that's never been there before. Emes and Chidushim are Emes, according to Torah, just that they weren't there, but Galui Bakla. The Chaim. So the Rabbi says, ידוע שאף על פי שבמתן תורה ניתנו כבר כל ענייני התורה. Even though at Matan Torah everything was given. כאילו כל החידושים שעשיתם לשחדש במשך כל הדרך. As you came, what's this Indian that's a chidush on the part of the Talmud Chacham? ויסייל מזו, אף תורות של Mashiach. Yeah, even Torah Mashiach was also given at Matan Torah. שעלי הנאמר תורה חדשה מאיתי תצא, the passage in Yeshaya, where the Eberster says there's going to go a new Torah from me. He said, however, gam hi nitna כבר במתן תורה, that was also given Matan Torah. אלא שכל זה ניתן באופן כללי. The Rebbe said this is given in a way that it was hidden inside the general rules of the Torah. Kloli HaTorah, shebehem nimtzu in kol isam hachidushim. Ubameshech HaTorahs mitgalim hadvarim alidei halomdim. So it's brought down, and the Chidor talks about this, and the Era Chaima, particularly in Parshas Tazria, he talks about this Baricha, that it's impossible to say that all the things that everybody's going to be Machades and Meshach, all the Torahs, were given to Moshe Rabbeinu. He was only 40, 40 days on the, how come, Elamai, we have to say that beyond the main in Yonei Torah, which he had to be given, there was given also what we call Kloli HaTorah, which they're the ways that you're given to be doirish the Torah. How you can learn out things. And in those Klolim is hidden these detailed Chidushim. They're like, as it were, inside the general rule, but they're not Begalui. You know? That's what the Rebbe brings down, that concept. And therefore he said, oh, these Chidushim on the part of the Talmud Basi, on the part of the Talmud Chacham, they are hidden inside these Klalim. They're Behelim. Yeah? And what the Talmud does through his hard work and through his yagir and his sweat, the internal, he gets the privilege of bringing that out through that particular cloud. And therefore, the great Rishonim wrote Kloli HaTorah. They wrote all sorts of, even Tanoim, Amoraim, wrote all sorts of amazing. And that's what we say every day in Davni, the Yud Gimel Midas, HaTorah Nidroses. But that's also Klalim, you know. That's also ways that we bring out certain inyan. So he said, B'zeh Gufa, Yesh, however, he said, in that concept of chidush, b'zeh gufi yesh chidush bein chidushei haTorah shemitgalim b'zman hazeh lebein elu sheitgalel al zei Moshiach. He said, the chidushim with the lomdim akshav are bringing forth, they are different than the chidushim that are going to be when Moshiach comes. What's the difference? So he said, החידושים שבזמן הזה מתגלים כאמור על ידי הלומדים. Through the great Talmidim and the Talmidim Chachomim, they reveal through the Klalim, they bring out into Gilui what was Behilim. He said, HaTorah Chadosha שתתגלה ליוסד, הוא בדרך כזו שתתגלה רק ליוסד לבוי. Or that would the Shem is going to be Machadesh, that's only able to be Mitgaleh when Moshiach will come. Ukapisha, Dolamud yes B'dir Goloshan Torah, and like it's emphasized in the speciality of the Loshan, Torah Chadosha Mi-iti Teitei. It's going to come from me. Only I have the koyach to reveal these tremendous chidushim which are going to occur when Mashiach comes, because they're hidden so profoundly. It's only me is going to be able to reveal it. But it was also given to Sinai, but I'm going to be the one that will reveal it. But the difference is that all the generations, the Lomdim themselves, the great Talmidei Chachamim, they reveal the chiddush. The Osid Love, only Hashem is going to be able to do. Kavayma, B'shoyne Mishar Chilki HaTorah, Sh'aksha B'vadai, Yi Torah Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Ak Yitzias HaDover Me'ahelam L'Giloi, Na'aseh Alidei Haloimed. Haloimed is the person who's learning. The people are learning Torah. Arei, Shekan, Sh'yitgala Shel HaTorah Zu, Tiyeh Rak B'koyzi Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Me'iti Teite. Or that particular chiddush is only going to come from the Eibishter, but Davki, V'zui Yochein, Hadaga Hanailis B'yoyza B'Torah, Sha'aleya Omru, Torah Shel HaOdam Loimed B'zman Hazeh, Hevel Hi L'gabi Torosei Shel Moshiach. In other words, it's going to be a completely different level in Torah, till the Medrash Rabbi tells us whatever you learn now is like heaven, it's like hot air, like what's going to be revealed. However, that doesn't mean to say it wasn't given by Matan Torah, but it was all Behilim. And who's going to be able to bring it out? Only Hashem. He will be able to be Megalith to Melech HaMashiach. And Melech HaMashiach will give it over to the people. But before that, there's a koyach to make a chidush, a new inen, and that's if you're a good Talmud and you're emes a Talmud Chochem and you work hard and you sweat, you can bring forth something that was also hidden, but only relatively hidden, not completely. Kamuliel. So now the Rebbe is going to say we find a similar thing when it gets to the whole creation. We find a creation how it's renewed in a relatively new way every day, and yet it's written when Moshiach will come that Hashem is going to make a Shomayim Ba'oret Chadashah. Yashani Oseh. The Abraham said he's going to make a Shomayim Ba'oret Chadashah. So the Rebbe says, Im came, what's the difference? It's like we found in Torah. There's a new thing which occurs the whole time, and then there's a completely new thing which it's only Hashem's power to make it. That's the chidushim, a meeting. The same with the bria. Well, that what occurs every day, a new bria. That's our power to reveal that through our service of Hashem. When Moshiach comes, Hashem's going to make a Shemayim V'oretz Chadashah, completely new, and it's written Asher Ani Oseh. I'm going to make that, says Hashem. In other words, just like in Torah, it's all going to be with Hashem's koyach, or that whole new thing which is going to be in the world through Moshiach, or that's going to be only the koyach of Hashem. In other words, it's going to be a completely new world altogether. And that's going to be made by Hashem, Bilvat. Pretty amazing idea, you know? So he says, Kama bria mitchadeshet b'chol yom mechadai. V'harei kiven shekol hisavas abria hi b'koyach ha'torah. So here the Rebbe is making a new point. The Zohar Kodesh tells us that how did the Eibishter create the world? He looked first of all in the Torah, and then he created the world, which means that the Shatoire, he dipatroes or pinkasoe. And he called the, what do you call it, the technical drawing, the engineer's plan of the whole world is the Torah. That's what it means, and they call it, what they call it, technical drawings, the line. That is Pitroes of Pinkasoes of the world. That is the Torah. We have to say him, Cain, Shaish Chadjas ha'oilam, bo gam hi ketoitzoa mish chadjas b'Torah. In other words, that is chadjas which occurs every day in the Torah, or that's what causes these chadjas in the world. In other words, that if it weren't for these chadjas in the Torah, there wouldn't be these chadjas in the world. So just like in the Torah, there's going to be a whole new chadjas through Hashem Bilvad when Moshiach comes. In the same way, there's going to be a whole new world only made by Hashem when Moshiach comes. It's all dependent. Everything is dependent in the Torah. Yeah. Bogam, he said, he ketoitzor mishchatzes b'Torah. Kalema, kasher yesh ishchatzes b'Torah, azai yesh ishchatzes b'Olam. If there's going to be this whole new world, which Hashem is going to make, well, that's because there's going to be a whole new world. A whole new Torah, which Hashem is going to make. And just like only He can make the whole new Torah, in the same way, only He can make the whole new world. Yeah. In other words, it's as simple as all that. You follow? Isn't it? Aber Meiler, come to Israel, ask yourself the question, what is this whole new world that's going to be? What is it? What's this whole new world? It's going to be bodies and souls. And it's going to be whatever's a whole new world that only the Eber's is going to make. So the Rebbe says that we need to understand what is going to be this whole newness that's going to be revealed in the world. He said, "Behetam lazem uvan shegam ashanu meitim chidush ba'olam liyosef lovei ukafi shenema b'pasuk hashamayim ba'oretz achadosha asher ani said novei gam kain that will come and flow also from the chidush that is going to be in Torah, and that's also from Hashem. Torah chadosha mi'iti tetei shetitkale az." Amir said, the Rebbe, we find the whole concept of how to call it, Geula ba'olam in Pirkei Avos of this week. Perek Shishi, the Mishnah says over there, or the Brisa, it's actually a Brisa. Perek Shishi is a Brisa. It says that Kol ha'oim ha'dova v'shem oimroi maybe Geula le'olam. That's what's written in the Pirkei Avos, that if you give over something in the name of the person who said it, then you bring Geula le'olam. So the Rebbe said, what do you mean Geula le'olam? We have to say that there's something occurs to the world by you doing that which wasn't there before. That's called a Geula. So the Rebbe said, what is what could we suggest is that Geula? So the Rebbe suggests like this. I'm just telling you briefly because I'm going to have to complete shortly. And that is, the Rebbe says, when you look at the world, what do you see? You see just a world. You just see a good world. And if you misbeing about it, you come to the conclusion that it must be run by Hashem. But you don't actually notice anything, coke up. Geula means that you take the world out of its galut, out of its hiddenness. It doesn't really reveal what it really is. And it'll become clear that Hashem is running the world, and you'll see all sorts of things. And you'll see Proteus and Chayes Eliquis, and you'll notice it much more in the whole of your experience. And that is maybe Geula Le'olam. And that's if you quote Divrei Torah by he who said it, which means that somebody who revealed the Internet Torah, which you'd never met before, if you give it over as his chidush, then you're bringing that chidush into the world, a geula. However, says the Rabbi, what's going to be the geula of the whole world, Shemayim V'Aretz Chadashah? He said, because the Eibusher is going to show himself in the world. And you're going to, that's what the Alter Rebbe tells us in Shara Yichon, that your eyes are going to be open and you'll be able to see the Eibusher Mamish in the world, and you'll see how the whole world is Atzmas Ein Sof, the very essence of Hashem, every moment bringing about the creation, and you will see that with your eyes, Elakus. And that is unbelievable chiddush. And that's the new thing that Hashem is going to make the Shemayim V'Aretz. He can do that. Only he can do that. And how's he going to do that? Through the fact that he's going to reveal in Torah also only things that he can reveal. Yeah. And they're dependent one in the other. They're dependent one in the other. It's an unbelievable idea. Microscope, you would be surprised. Yeah, sure. It's amazing. But then you're only seeing, more circumference and detail in the creation. Over here, you're going to be seeing who's making it. And you're going to be seeing him, who is actually doing it. That's the chiddush of Yosef. And that's Shemayim V'Aretz. It's going to be a new Shemayim V'Aretz, because you're going to see that's the Koher of the Atmos himself, and you'll see the Koher Atmos. That's going to be, so the Rebbe said, that'll be dependent in this new Torah which Hashem is going to give forth. So the Rebbe says that through the great Rachmanas of the Eibusher already begun giving certain traces of this very special new aspect of the Torah, which he's going to reveal, which will lead to these inyonim. And can you guess what that is? Hey, you guys are all Batronim. What sort of Chabadskas are you guys? Well, that's Torah Suchsidas. Torah Suchsidas is the new aspect of the Torah, with the Baal Shem Tov and the Arizal, brought it down into the world. That is the Pnimius of the Torah, already beginning to make its appearance, but it's making its appearance to everybody. It's Shiur to every person. That's the Koyach of the Chid. Oh, but that's not complete. That's like how they call it, a forerunner. What do they call in Yiddish? A Vorspeis. You know what a Vorspeis is? How do you call it? A Vorspeis? No. Yeah. A thing you take in order to taste, get your appetite. How do you call it? Yeah, an appetizer. Oh, a Vorspeis is an appetizer. A Chassidus is an appetizer for the emes agila of pnimis hateros is going to be when Mashiach will come. Yeah, but it's a very good appetizer because it's part of the whole deal. Rabbi says the Rebbe, what are you got to do? Spend time? You got to learn Torah. And the Rebbe says you mustn't say that you can't be a machadesh shaminyan in the Torah. The Rebbe says that if you will learn with emes tmimas and with emes emuna and with emes feeling and awareness that the Torah is stuck in you and waiting for you to bring out something new, then you'll be able to reveal something new, and that'll start the whole process rolling, and it will all end up in the Torah Chadosha, Me'iti Teitei. And that's the general message of the whole, what the Rebbe develops on now at great length. And then he talks about it over Friedrich Rebbe, said that we're all standing at the parade and we're just waiting for the general to come. And all the buttons have already been polished and everything's ready. Maybe if you'll be Mechadesh, genuinely and trying your hardest to be Mechadesh, that will be the last little Indian that will bring the Chiddush Torah, Akloli, the Iti Teita, take him miyad Mami. So you can see, then I just have to tell you one thing, that in this Parsha, we have the whole din of the Nazir, And so a Nazir, he has to be mitnader, Nazir. He says, Nazir, he takes on himself to, and by doing that, he commits himself to be a Nazir. By the way, nowadays there's no Nazir. And the Rambam says that if somebody pronounces himself to be a Nazir in Chutzpah, you have to force him to go to Eretz Yisrael. Yeah, in Eretz Yisrael, the Kedusha of Eretz Yisrael can sort of put up, as it were, with the Naziris, but you have to remain a Nazir till Mashiach comes, because he can't bring the Korbanos. He can't stop being a Nazir, because we don't have the Korbanos per month. So what is the answer? To have the Korbanos per month? No. The Rebbe says there's a din here, and the Rambam brings it down. What about if somebody says that I'm going to be a Nazir on the day Sheben David Yoboy? On the day that Ben David will come, then I'll be a Nazir. So it's written that he is a Nazir Olam. From that moment, he is a Nazir, and until Mashiach comes, he's a Nazir. For us, so the Gemara says, why? Because what is the answer? No, everybody in a chorus. Because every day Mashiach is coming. So he says, I'm going to be a Nazir on the day that Mashiach comes. That's every day. No. Well, he's just Nazir. The Rebbe brings it down. Yeah. Now you guys are batronim, not you? So to see how the Rebbe sees every point, now links up with the whole main wondrous concept of Beers Mashiach Tzidkenu. Take him here, man. But guys, listen, Malchus is a witness. I had a pretty hectic week, and it's Erev Yom Tov, so everybody won't be angry. I'm gonna have a little shoulder this evening.
He has a yard site. Yankee Visual's yard site. Wants to sell a chai for yard site.
You have your time? That's the day? After who?
My mother and my sister were totally together.
His mother and his sister on the Shchodesh.
Not today? What is that? Wow. Gimel Sivan. Wow. What did it say to that?
Now I need to stop it.
Yaakov,
Yeah, you do it.
you should have took me out before. I didn't know.
I did. You agreed. So you're in something else. Because here it's for you to edit. Okay, how do I go back to the original? What is this?
Fingers, special fingers.
Summertime.
You go down here, just hold it on, don't click it. This one? Yeah, just go across. Yeah, just stop on just right and then keep sharing.
Are you sure it's going to
This is just your internet. Yeah, it's just showing where.
No.
I only put out 2 of these, so it's fine.
There's something else I just press for disconnect. Yeah. I would go down there to see, just, yeah, just see what's, and if you can find it, then you can
I just
close
looked
it.
wonderful.
You see it anyway? Yeah. Usually just want you to open it. You just want to shut it down. Yeah. I'll just save it. If you disconnect.
Don't bring the stuff out. Yeah. A parastage. A parastage. What they call a parastage.
It said, disconnect. I just disconnected. Hey, Yishai, I think
חג הביקורים. חג הביקורים.
זה הסוף. זה נעלם.
Come over here to this table. Over here.
Come closer.
Come over here. בוא תעשה ברכה, בבקשה.
Just turn it around.
I reminded him to charge his phone up 10 times. Because it was like dying today.
Gotta get the name.
Sabri Maranan. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri Gafni. Lavlot et haneshama shel
Drink. Like it.
Lavlot et haneshama. Whose yahrzeit is it?
Yaakov is one.
Yeah, some grapes.
Go back into the.
I love that.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri
It's actually, it's nuts. I like to get some.
So I was photographing the model. Oh, sorry, it's going to take a while. Amazing. You want some nuts? Did you know I'm known who was sitting there?
Actually, wearing a shirt together every day over at my car.
Oh.
Yeah.
You know what to play?
Actually, fine. I don't think I'm gonna. Thank you.
Sorry.
Double, triple.
The Chaim.
You should have him to tell me, and then I'll tell
Chaim and Roch.
If you just post it, I can also see it. Well, can you tell me where? Yeah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu
Right. I'll buy a cheesecake tonight and go back with go to the bakery for the bakery. The 7 grams bakery. But if the food doesn't-
What happened to the bottle of
I've got to go fish to my farm.
Think of it now.
I'm okay if it doesn't. Because that happens very often.
Once or twice.
Say the brachas anyway, have wine.
So I'm going to
About a little wine?
Certainly.
Wine?
Oh,
thank you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minim mezonot.
So, Shavuos, the whole question as to whether the first day of Shavuos or the second day of Shavuos, Shavuos is the outside of the Baal Shem Tov.
And David HaMelech.
It's also the outside of David HaMelech. Yoter Karov L'Zmanenu, it's the outside of the Baal Shem Tov.
And the birthday.
So the whole, what's the whole, as it were, message in a few words of the Baal Shem Tov. So like we just learned in the Rebbe Sicha, that every moment is what we call a itchadshut in Torah, and that itchadshut comes from the itchadshut klolius, but it comes from the itchadshut of the learning of the loimed, and he causes mamela. In other words, that through our learning, we have an ashpah on the whole world. And there's a story about the Baal Shem Tov that he once went to Dam by the Omad, and his tzitzis were, he had big tzitzis, and they were sort of noticeable under his beggar. And he was standing in a way that he was motionless by the Omad, and nonetheless, his tzitzis were moving, yeah. Even to the point that the tzitzis jumped slightly, you know. They sort of made like, quick, electrous movements. People were sort of, those who noticed, were very taken with this. So one of the closer Talmidim, or people close to the Baal Shem Tov, asked him, was it the Pshat in there? So he said it's written in the Torah that Eila HaMitzvahs Asher Yaseh HaOdom V'choi Bohem. A man has to do the mitzvahs, and through that's his life. That's what gives him life. So he said that we can also learn a different pshat. And when you say Eila mitzvahs Asher Yaseh HaOdom V'choi Bohem, that through doing the mitzvah, the man brings a chayas into the mitzvah. He brings into the mitzvah a new liberty card that it didn't have. In other words, not just that you do the mitzvah more liberty, but the mitzvah itself, as part of the plan of Hashem in the world, lives, and it moves, and it itself shrinks, chayas into the creation around. So for now we see that the whole inyan of Limud Torah has to be in such a way that you're learning Torah and the world around you are intimately connected. And I once heard a story from the Rabbi, once heard a story from when I was still in Australia. I'm going back now, I'm getting on the way to 60 years ago, and I heard Rabbi, and he said that in the old days in Russia, when things got really tight, He fortunately got out of Russia, but remember, they were very close boy and friends, he and Remendel. Remendel got caught, the whole story, yeah. He got out. So in that period before that, they used to have little minyonim that people used to get up very early in the morning. It was all hush hush. It was all, and they used to have these chevrot tehillim, or little groups of it learn mishnayos, sort of hush hush, and people would sit and say to them, but they wouldn't stray. They didn't want to attract the attention on them. So he said there was one person that used to come to the Tillim, but he used to look horrible. He looked something, and he was all drawn. His face was all marshkoyer, and he had a terrible, tragic look on him. And that's the way he would look when he was saying the Tillim. And then when he would daven baricha, he would daven like, take his time. He didn't finish with the minyan. So then Rabbi said he met up with him a couple of times about 12 o'clock by day when he'd finished davening, and he said he was, Mommy said, an absolutely different person. He was full of running, he was all running. And he was getting at everything, he was optimistic and just. So, Rabbi said to him, what's your patent, you must have some patent. Because in the morning when we made jokes, Hashem's word, the way you look. When I meet you, about Chatzos Hayom, so he said, listen, I'll let you in on a secret. He said, I have, he said, my wife, he said, she's crazy. He has a wife who's not normal ever. And she drives him absolutely crazy. He said she just ruins his whole life, curses him and all that. Because she never sees. So he said when he gets home, he loses terrible situation. And he doesn't sleep at night because she curses him. That's what she does. So he said when he comes in the morning, he doesn't have any curse. Yeah. He said, now what is it then? Hashem gave us the inyan of tefillah, davening. So he said, what is davening? He said, the whole inyan of davening is hamachadish b'tuvay b'chol yom tomid ma'aseh bereishis. And he said, what is that? What did the Baal Shem Tov teach us? That every moment it's a new world. And he said, that's the whole of davening. The whole of davening is to plug in to that plug and get the electricity, which tells you that every moment's a new world. So you have to take that seriously. Every moment is a new world. If every moment is a new world, then it's not the same world that was there before. If so, when I get home, maybe I'll find a different world altogether. It's not the same world, It's a different world. So he said, I live without chayas. And then I get koyras and I do things. I said, when I come home and I find. So he said, what is the pshat? What does that mean? He said, it must be the fault with me. I didn't live the newness of the world enough. I didn't bring into the world enough newness. Yeah. You guys, I don't know if you're listening. That's what Rabbi told me. That's what this guy said to him. So Rabbi was a very amazing citizen. Rabbi knew what was, So his eyes jolted up. He said, Kunta, is that every moment there's mamish in you? Well, that's dependent on me. And that's what we learned tonight in the sea. If you learn Torah in that way, you affect the world that way. And if you're Megala, a new thing altogether, and you make mamish a step towards a completely new world, something absolutely different. That's the whole message. Moshiach is that inyan massively, as it were, like a very huge step in that whole Inyan. And Hashem will be mitgaleh, that He's doing everything. It's all Him. And you will see that Pekala, and that's the whole Inyan. The message, it's unbelievable secret that we know. And that's the whole Inyan. Of a Machadish B'Tuah, the whole Inyan. But you have to realize it's all up to you. And it all depends how you're going to learn to, and how you relate to the young. And I remember here I am, way back in Australia, tens of years ago, and I hear this from the public. So I have a computer, I put it inside my computer. But it's only, in recent times that I've begun to realize just how much I learned when I heard that from Rabbi. Just how much it really means, you follow? And here I find it rings into my whole consciousness when I learn this amazing Sikha from the Rabbi, which means that Matan Torah Sena means a new start. You've got to start new. And you must never say that you can't affect the world. And Bamila, we understand now why the Rebbe says that you can affect the world. And on the contrary, a Fruma Yud should want to affect the world more than anybody else. And therefore, he's got to feel an achrayus to what's happening in the world. Yeah? And he's got to feel that he can affect the world. And not like people say, oh, who am I? They don't listen to me anyway. They're not going to, because of me, who am I? That's not right. You have the ability to bring a chiddush into the world if you will make a chiddush in your life. And where do you get the koyah from? From Hashem himself, on the chaddush. And the chiddush Torah made it. So be well, gentlemen. Have a good evening. And have an amazing Chag.
He has Yahrzeit for his mother and for his sister. He has Yahrzeit for his mother and for his sister. His mother. No, he's got Yahrzeit for his mother and for his sister.
Yeah, wonderful. So what's her name?
My mother's name is Hannah Basara.
Chana Basara.
My sister is
Shana
Sarah
Bas?
Basara.
Chana.
Hannah Basara.
Chana Basara.
Hannah Bas?
Sora.
Sora?
Sora Bas Chana.
Sora Bas Khan. Yeah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu
The
melech
Neshamas should have an aliyah, but a Yerida. They should come down into the world and be mishkalim, the Torah Chadosha, and we should see through them the koyach ha'atzmas and the whole bria.
I'd like to tell a story about my mother and my sister were nifter on the same day. It was a very overwhelming experience, to say the least. And my mother was a real Jewish princess. She grew up in Crown Heights on Kingston Avenue and President Street, in the house across from the Free Shiur. And my family were there before the Frierdiker Rebbe came in Crown Heights. And it was not Crown Heights in those days, it was called Brownsville. Frierdiker Rebbe put the name Crown Heights on that district. And all the Hasidim, they lived in the next town over, called Brownsville. And they walked over to the building, which is 770, mostly on Shabbos. There were many minhagim in the steeple shuls in what we call Crown Heights. At any rate, my mother grew up as a child on President Street. They were not a Hasidic family. They were a very Litvish family. And my mother was a direct descendant of Yosler Rosenblatt. And my mother's family were very involved in a large baking company, the largest Jewish baking company in New York, called Pector Baking. And consequently, my mother was a very wealthy and righteous and religious woman. She married my father, they went to Manhattan, and they got less religious by the time I was born. At any rate, when my mother became nifter, in Israel, in Yeshiva of Rabbi Gafni in order to meet me in Dvar. And I got a call from my family that my mother was very ill. I didn't even know. And I came to America to be with my mother in her last days, in her last time. And I sat in the hospital at night, so I was the night nurse of my mother. And I went through this whole process of trying to be helpful to my mother who was spending her last time here on the earth. When my mother, Momish, left, there was no breath, no nothing. I knew exactly what to do. I opened the window. I made sure that nobody touched the body and scarred it or did anything. I knew exactly what to do. I had prepared myself. And when they came later in the evening, they came with a hearse to take my mother from the hospital to the funeral parlor. So they had a hearse and they started to move my mother's body. And I said to them that I wanted to go and escort my mother from the hospital to the funeral parlor. And they said, no, you can't go. That we have no insurance for anyone else but the driver to drive the hearse and to drive the niftar person from the hospital to the funeral parlor. So I said, my mother's body isn't moving. If I can't be a shomer to my mother, you're not going to take my mother out of here. And I stopped them. I blocked the door. And you have to understand, I'm with beard and hat and jacket, and this is not the regular sort of a way in a Goyish community in Florida. But I wouldn't let them move my mother until they finally agreed that I could escort my mother in the hearse to the funeral parlor. How did I escort my mother? I escorted her because I climbed in the back of the hearse with her, and not in the seat up front that someone should see me and then their insurance would object. I climbed in the back part of the hearse, and I escorted my mother to the funeral parlor. And for 3 days, I was the shomer in the funeral parlor over my mother. No boy should touch my mother's body. And I arranged for a tahara and a perfect kosher burial and all the things involved with it. At that time that I did this, I remembered an amazing thing. 20 years before this, before my mother became nifter, I was driving a sports car up toward the Canadian border, and the car flipped over. And Momish almost died when the car went out of control. And my parents, they came from Manhattan, they drove all the way up to the Canadian border. It's like a 12-hour drive to get up there. And in that hospital, they didn't have sufficient doctors to take care of what was my problems. So my father demanded that they take me by ambulance from the Canadian border back down to where Yale University and big medical doctors and big people in Connecticut are, and those doctors would be able to help me. My mother refused to allow them to move me from the hospital by the Canadian border unless she got in the ambulance, and she crouched down to fit in the ambulance as they took me all those 12 hours from the Canadian border to the hospital. And here, whatever you want to call it, shkatapatis or deja vu or whatever it is, I was escorting my mother from the hospital that she became nifter to her funeral parlor. I was doing for her what she did for me. This is a story about Hana Basara. Which are you asking me?
Yes.
Good Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.